Okay, I'm Prof Gajik. I'm an assistant professor here in the Spanish department. My native language is Serbo-Croatian or Serbian. When I write in either language, but I think probably more in English than in Spanish, I have to write several versions of a paragraph or even a sentence. I think it's harder for me to write in English than in Spanish in some ways. My feeling is that I have a personal style in Spanish, that I have a voice in Spanish that I maybe don't have in English. The first stage is just finding the words that you want to use, but then even when you find the words, it's the question of, okay, how do I make a decent sentence out of these words? That is not 7 lines long and that is not completely unwieldy. So I really work from the level of finding the right word to shaping the sentence to then, making the connection between the sentences kind of more fluid. But that's the last stage. I think that's what happens at the rewriting stage, this kind of fluidity between sentences. I think rewriting is the absolute key. For students who still are at the stage where they don't think that the writing that it should be such a big deal, because they think, okay, I have my thoughts, I'll just put them on the paper. For them is to see that rewriting is absolutely necessary, that no one, from the first year high school student to Garcia Marquez writes perfect sentences. So for them, I think the challenge is more to see that rewriting is really when the writing actually happens, right? That's when you write the second version is when you're really foregrounding the importance of writing. The first version is more just getting your thoughts on the paper, but the second one is when you are actually dealing with your writing and not just with your thoughts. And I think it's very important also to have good readers, good feedback, and that the feedback is that a writer should look for as much feedback as possible at every stage. I think that relationship is the key. I don't think anybody can write well without having a sense for the text, written text. And to have a sense for the written text, you have to read a lot. And I don't think that you can be a good writer if you're not a good reader. I mean, to undergraduate students, first of all, that they have to be aware of the importance of writing, and that the writing is not just a nuisance, or is not just putting your thoughts on the paper. That's one of the functions of writing, but that's not what the writing is as a whole. So I think that this idea that what writing really is about making connections between words and between thoughts, and that is a craft, right? That those connections are made in the process of writing. So the writing is a craft. It's not some kind of just an academic imposition. Well, I think the same. That to realize how important it is to have your writing revised, and how important it is just to look for feedback. For many people and many stages, it's a huge problem to think that you shouldn't put anything on the paper until you have a very clear idea of what you want to say. That you don't get to a clear idea just in your head, right? So that the ideas become clear on the paper, not and then from the paper to your head and back. To put things on the paper as soon as you have a little put it on the paper. For me, it's never, as I said, it's never in a sentence form when that happens. It's in a very fragmentary form. But that the fragments are good, and I think that these fragments allow you to have little embryos of sentences in your head, and that if you don't put them on the paper, you will never have an embryo of a sentence. It will go. You know, the thoughts fly. They just flow. They never remain. So if you don't have a little nutshell of your thought on the paper, you will not have this little piece which you can use then to make something bigger. So plus it gives you the sense of freedom, and it also gives you some sense of accomplishment, right? Even if it's 3 words you put on the paper, they're 3 words. They're better than 4 sentences in your head. I don't know. First, that writing doesn't come easy for anybody. Identify goals that you have to work on. I have students whose goal is to grasp the idea of a complete sentence. That, for example, they don't just say a sentence and then they write something and then they put comma and move to the next idea without realizing that there is a connection between the idea and the sentence. So identify a goal, and if that goal is I have to learn what a complete sentence is, that's a great goal, and it will probably take you some time to write a complete sentence and to realize the connection between an idea and a sentence. And finally, I think the final goal for everyone is to feel that they have their voice in writing. And that is a long process, and I think that it does entail, I guess, thinking about what do I really want to say, and be aware that what you really want to say will probably come out in second or third draft and not in the first one.